Welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. I'm Larry.
And I'm Vince,
Welcome to the show.
where we talk all things cryptid,
Sasquatch,
aliens,
hauntings.
and anything paranormal you would like to share with us.
You can reach us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
So settle in, open your mind, and enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. We're back doing it once again. Vince, give them a shout out.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
Now, if you all are wondering, if you watched our previous episodes, why we're not doing a toast to our fans, we really are, but behind the scenes. And, it's because Vince is doing it remotely and, I'm here. So I'll do the shout out to y'all.
Yep,
Here you go.
there you go.
All right. So me and Vince were talking just the other day, and he turned me on to, it's a documentary, right?
Yeah, it's like it's done by Small Town Monsters,
Right.
but it's a couple of people that really did it on their own.
Well, I think these people kind of contacted Seth Breedlove and his crew from Small Town Monsters, and they kind of, invited them like they say to anyone, come on.
Yeah,
But what they really did in this documentary was it's one of the better documentaries I've seen,
yeah,
because there's some actual vocalization. There's, there's proof, there's footprints, and I'm like, this is what we want to see. When you call us out to your property, show us that they've been here. Don't make people make a long journey just to tell stories, right?
right. And I like the fact that they have cameras documenting it because
Right.
don't get me wrong, I like to listen to the Bigfoot stories, but you could only listen to so many of those at a time.
Right.
But when they're out there, out in the field, that it just makes it more interesting.
No, it does. I totally agree. And especially when you could do the tangible evidence. By tangible evidence, I mean that what you could see, touch, feel, and taste. And when they
Right.
bring cast or footage, that's tangible. We saw it. We seen it. Yeah, so we either believe it or we don't.
Right. Yep.
Anyway, let's bring up a good point about this. So when I was watching, you had me watch it. So when I was watching it, I got into how the owner of the property just randomly says, if you want to come out and experience it, come on. And he was talking about the builders that build that cabin. They, you got all the construction company. He said people that were out there that were helping build, just when they would hear it, they were like, I'm done. So it took him a while to get that cabin built, but it's built, and to this day, he says he has constant encounters with them.
Yeah. Now, before we go any further, this documentary is called Alaskan Coastal Bigfoot. You could find it on YouTube.
Right.
And if you look under the Small Town Monsters page, it'll be there also.
I would recommend watching it.
Yeah. And like go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say I've watched almost all their documentaries, and this one I could see how they're maturing as filmmakers and documentary makers, because this one was really good, man.
Yeah, this one kept me interested from start to finish.
Right.
But of course, it's our favorite subject too, so that helped.
Well, yeah. I mean, but overall, they're still getting really good at making documentaries.
Right. And it was great because he starts giving a little background about the property. Like you said, he starts talking about getting the cabin built.
Right.
And he extended an invitation. Anyone want to come out, just get in touch with me. I'll bring you out here.
All right. And I'm saying, you know what? We should put them to the test, man.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't in Alaska, we'd probably be out there already.
We probably
would
would,
take a little
but
more planning.
I mean, but it's going to take some planning. But I'm like, we should make that like one of our bucket list things to go out there and really check it out.
Yeah, because actually Alaska's on my bucket list already. So
Right.
just to go kill two birds off that bucket list, that'd be awesome.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, I'm willing to go check that place out and see truly if we have encounters like everyone that's been there says they have. I mean, let's look at the vocalizations that he recorded, and they compared them to the vocalizations in the Sierra Sounds. I'm like, it is like so many similarities. I'm like, this, yeah. I was blown away by that. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to
Yeah.
find the right words. That was crazy.
Yeah. Now, when they were showing the property off a few yards away from the house, they have the outhouse.
Right.
And I believe they said that was destroyed one year when they came back, and they did little things like, do you remember when they put the mirror in the ground and it was moved?
Right.
Yeah, just things that you would have to have a thumb to do, because that mirror was moved and it was stuck in the ground in a different location.
Yeah, and you can't do that with paws.
Right. Or
Just can't.
yeah, and like I said, and if a bear did it, he would have crunched that mirror in half.
Of course, of course. I mean, yeah, they bring up all the scenarios as to why it can be this, that, and that, and that's good, because there's only one thing that could have done it: either another human being, or something with, what do they call our thumbs, bidextral? With the thumb, they
I
could.
forget.
With the thumb,
Yeah,
let's just
with
put
the-
it that
yeah.
way. Has a thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it
Yeah.
makes sense, but I hear the stories of what they heard and how they freak out, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
This-
and this cabin is like in no man's land too.
Right? That's what I'm
So it-
saying. They built
Yeah,
it.
it ain't gonna be any rowdy neighbors making those noises or anything.
No, and if you did have an encounter, who are you going to run to? There's no one there. It's
Right, you're just gonna have to sit it out.
That's right. It's you and right there, the little gulf, I guess, that that where you hunt and
Yep.
fish. But yeah, I know it was crazy. But the vocalizations are what I really listened to over and over, because I was like, that's so crazy.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and I like behind the cabin, there's a pretty steep mountain, and they were climbing it, and they got pretty high up on the ridge, and they found like little objects, like they found a piece of wood with a nail in it
Right.
and stuff. How did that get up there? Like I said, it's no man's land. They're the only ones out there. How would that get up there?
Right. What kids are out in the backyard doing jokes, huh?
Right. Or maybe one of the, my guess is that one of the Sasquatch picked it up and maybe thought they could use it as a tool and carried it up there or something.
Maybe. And I mean, my other comment there was like, you're not going to let your kids loose in that wilderness, because they'll end up missing in a minute.
Yep, it's easy to get turned around. It's so thick, or else they'll end up in a grizzly bear's belly.
Thank you. And so when we talk about what you're saying was placed up there in the mountain, the little mare, who did that,
Right, and not only that, who else could climb a steep terrain like that? You know.
And we've
I
heard
know
stories. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, with the shape I'm in, I probably wouldn't even make it up a quarter way.
No, but that's us as human beings. But we've heard stories that these creatures will latch onto like cliffs and just power up the cliff like nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, from what theory is and sightings, they have so much upper body mass strength that they wouldn't need to use their legs. They could just pull themselves up like a gymnast on 10 times steroids. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Just crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. That's just good. I like the footprints also. And wasn't there like a kind of a hole in the side of the mountain that they found a tree shoved in?
Yeah. I mean, they have all the right stuff to say there's squatches out here. And then, you know, you have, once again, eyewitness encounters. When the documentary starts, you have people telling you what they heard out there and how it freaked them out.
Yep.
You know, the one man says, I had my flare in my hand, but I was so in shock and processing it, I didn't even think to pull it up.
Right. Yeah. And I was thinking about what you said earlier. Like when I had my encounter, I told you we abandoned the campsite.
Right?
Over there, there's nowhere to go.
Exactly. They had to stay there and rough it out because there was nowhere to go. And I don't think they were going to run into the deep, thick forest.
No, heck no. That'd be suicide or that'd be crazy.
Right? So that's why they stood there and they just toughed it out and said, oh my God, the shit we heard and seen.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, but I definitely recommend it. It's a good watch. It's worth your while. It's what, about an hour, maybe a little more?
It's an hour and 46 minutes.
Okay, well, it's a lot more than an hour then.
It is, but it's like you said,
worth it.
Definitely worth it. Check it out. Watch it. Now, we don't get paid to push it, but we're just saying it. This is what we're talking about tonight. We watched it, and it's worth the watch. Seth Breedlove, if you want to kick us a buck, we'll make it work for us.
Actually, now that I think of it, I'll go ahead and post a YouTube link on our Facebook page. So if anyone wants to find it, it'll be easier for them.
No, and that's cool. And yeah, all we're asking you is watch it because you'll know what we're talking about.
Right, especially if you're as much into the subject as we are, you'll enjoy it.
Hell yeah, you will.
Now, speaking of go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say they did a good job.
Yeah, now speaking of the Facebook page, we posted a picture of there. I don't know if it's authentic or what. It's an old black and white of the Native American man.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a picture of what looks like a Sasquatch standing next to him, but it's cut off at the shoulders. And I mean, those hands are enormous. And I don't know. It's just an interesting photo. I'm not saying it's real or it's genuine, but I found that on another site, and I thought I'd share it. It's just interesting.
Well, here's my thing. It could be one or two things. Someone could have did a really bang up job on Photoshop and made it look that way, or it could be genuine. I mean,
right.
That's something that the photographer, the professional photographers, are going to have to pull in and say, was it manipulated? Because you could take any picture and put it into a computer and say, well, it was manipulated because they did it with Photoshop. They did this, that, because it leaves a cutout mark. There's always a watermark when they mess with something. So.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I've seen people who have that kind of software who have debunked some photos and some they're like, no, this is legit. But here we go with the poor boy syndrome. We do not have that software because we do not have the money.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. If Seth Breedlove wants to kick us a buck, buy some software so we could, take videos and slow them down and do our thing and take our time and really be positive about what we're saying rather than relying on them. Hey, kick it to us, bro.
Yep, kick it our way.
Nonetheless, I appreciate what they do because it was a good documentary.
Yeah, yes it was.
I'm going to say it was one of the better ones because they do have the evidence. They do have some tangible evidence and a lot of stories that make sense, man.
Right. Now, if you go watch the documentary, I believe sometime now in December, they're going to release part 2 to that documentary.
And that's what I'm waiting for because when you told me to watch it, you said there's part 1, but there's going to be part 2. And yeah, I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, part 2's not here yet.
Yeah, I thought it was, but I went and I researched it, and I think it said like December on Christmas or something, or somewhere around there.
And that's cool. They want to release it on Christmas so everyone that gets their new devices, tablet, computer, can log on and watch it.
Yeah, that'll be the first thing they could watch.
That's right. There you go. So if that's what you're getting for Christmas, be sure to log on Christmas morning.
Yep.
But no, I think it was a well done documentary. It was damn good.
Yep.
I man, I got stuck on the vocalizations. I went back and forth, playing them back, listening to them, playing them. And if I would have had time, I was going to do a comparison with those vocalizations. I was going to record them and cut and put the Sierra sounds on, and we could have played it. We could have said, well, you decide for yourself, and we would have played it while we're podcasting right now. We would have paused our voice and done it, but I didn't have the time. I had to go do the honeydews, shopping, whatnot.
Yep. Well, that's maybe something we could do later on down the line, though.
I think we should, because, this is like one of the second sites that has good vocalization, good audio, other than the Sierra sounds, which that audio is classic. It's clear.
Right.
I mean.
Right.
But,
and it was funny. The Sierra sound audio was so good. Our sister was listening to the podcast when we put it on there. She was going home late at night, and it kind of freaked her out.
Right. No. I mean, it is good quality sound. I mean, when they recorded it, they did a good job. I'm saying we need to put it on and compare it to the vocalizations they have. I mean, their vocalizations are still good too. And I'm like, yep, that's a Squatch.
Yeah, we definitely got to compare them, because they compared them to the Sierra sound. So,
and that's why I say we should do it too.
Yeah, we need to do it and let our audience judge for themselves also.
That you're thinking just like I am. Yep, I agree.
Yep, and then maybe if somebody's brave enough, they could drop us an email or come on and talk about it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Now, my thing is, let's talk the region now, because they did this in Alaska, and we've talked about like Squatches throughout the country in different regions, but it still seems to hold even with them and their most recent, the newest, probably the newest Sasquatch documentary out there is them right now.
Right.
And you could watch it for free. But here's my thing. All the evidence, everything they have, still leads me to believe the further north you go, the more, I don't want to say violent, I want to say aggressive the Squatches are.
Right.
Because
I believe part of that is they're real territorial, and they don't have a lot of human contact. So when they see a little hairless dude, they're like, get this punk out of here.
Right. I mean, I agree 100% with what you're saying, because they're in such a vast wilderness up there, and they have room to grow and be wild as shit, that when they see a human being, like you said, they're like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, yep. And I'm sure there's a lot of Sasquatch up in the Alaska mountains who have never seen a human. And they're like our naysayers. I don't believe humans exist. I've never seen one.
Someone comes with a sand print of one of our footprints, and like, look, they do exist. I took a cast.
They're like, you faked it with your pinky.
They're like, no, you laid your pee-pee in the sand, didn't you? No,
they'll say, oh, that one must have been a baby.
No, but I mean, it's the same premise, They probably look at us and like, especially if a Squatch has never seen one of us humans, and then they finally seen one, they're going to be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. What's that little baby?
Right.
And, we've talked about this on other podcasts, how Alaska is so vast, and that's one of the reasons the Sasquatch are reported to be a lot bigger, and some say up to 12 feet. Now, during Halloween, one of our neighbors down the road, he had a plastic skeleton in his front yard, and it was a 12-foot skeleton. And I was driving by with my kids, with two of them, and I told them, look at that. See that skeleton is 12 feet? I said, in Alaska, the Sasquatch are reported to get that big. And I said, wrap your mind around that. What would you do if you ran into something that big? And they looked at the skeleton, and they're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, you're like, oh, shit, my pants immediately.
Yep.
Seriously, that'd be a frightening sight.
Right. Yep. Just like I think somewhere else we saw a picture of a guy standing next to a model of a big skeleton.
Yeah, we sent that. Yeah, we both seen that. And you think about it, you're like, this guy's 6 foot, but that skeleton at 12 foot, it looks so much bigger. And then if you put flesh and bone and muscle on it, that's frightening.
Yep, it is. They're giants. They're true giants.
Right? It's frightening. So to think that these creatures can be that big out there, and they are already reported as being totally muscular and like elite athletes. They're built like shit brick houses, you know? And they have to be, because you hear stories they climb up like canyon walls that are just like straight up and down, no grade to them, but they just up them like nothing happens. So these things are just masters of their environment. And and I guess to be a master of your environment, you have to be the apex, the strongest in that environment. And from what people have said, they are.
Yep, and actually to be able to compete with like the grizzly and the moose up there, they'd have to be that big.
They would. And they'd have to be super strong, because a moose will take your 2,000-pound car and it'll run it in like it's a Tonka toy. Yeah,
I used to have an old VHS tape. See how many of our listeners know what VHS is, huh?
Right. There you go.
It was one of those when animals attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it was up in Alaska, and there was a mother moose with her baby. They had wandered into town there in front of a public library, and an old man was walking by, and he just, most people think, oh, they're like cartoon animals, they're friendly. And
right.
He just walked right by without a care in the world, and that mother moose walked up to him and stomped him to death.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it was like nothing.
She's like, this is my young one. I got to protect her no matter what. I don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly.
That's
why my hats off are to I like watching these specials, all these people who live off the grid in Alaska.
Right.
They live off the land. Man, there's some tough people, there's some brave people.
I agree 100%.
Or else they're just plain crazy.
I think it's a little bit of both. It is.
Yeah, I'd love to visit there, but I don't know. I'm not rugged enough to live out there off the land. Maybe in one of the cities.
Right. No, I'm saying I think we should contact this person and go out there and visit his cabin and maybe do a podcast from there. For our fans, would you like that? Let us know. That would be
that'd be great.
That'd be a cool thing, and just so that we could clarify that. Yep, we hear these same sounds where we go, and yeah.
Well, you know what they're going to do, right? They're going to take us there and drop us off alone there for a week, and we have no way in or out. And like you said, we're going to have to just wait out the storm no matter what comes knocking at the door.
Well, but here's the thing. I think as it stands right now, I think I could run faster than you.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you wouldn't even have to trip me.
So, my jaw, it's going to be all on you, buddy. Hey,
well,
that's why I'm so willing to do it.
I got a backup plan. Yep, I got a backup plan. I'm going to crap myself, so they're going to say, oh, no, this one's spoiled. Let's get the other one.
Let's chase the other one. This one this one rotted as it ran.
He's past the expiration date.
Well, now that I know that, guess what I'm going to do as I start running? They're going to have to make it's going to be a tough choice for them.
They're going to say, I don't know what kind of animal this is, but there's scat for a mile.
That's some funny shit. Yep.
Yeah, so when we go up there, we're going to have to pack some food and probably a case of diapers.
Yeah, that's fine, man. I mean, that's fine. We could do that, but I think it'd be cool to go. I really do. Yeah,
I do too. And I mean, like I said, I've always wanted to go to Alaska. that would be like the ultimate vacation. Well, not even vacation. We'll call it fact-finding research.
Right, there you go. And I've talked to people that have been to Alaska, and they're like, in the summer, you're going to hate it. The mosquitoes are so big that they'll carry you away. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but it's either that or else that cold-ass weather.
right? So
I'll cover up and take my chance with the mosquitoes.
me too. I'm down.
Yeah.
I am.
Now speaking of small-town monsters, I did watch another show. God, I don't know I forget what it's called. I'll forward it to you when I remember. I'll look it up. But it's the same thing. They go into Alaska, into this small place where supposedly they have a lot of Sasquatch sightings.
Right.
Now it's not real thick forest. It kind of reminds me of like around here, like the Continental Divide area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's trees everywhere, but they're not real big trees and they're not real close together. But
Right.
that kind of area.
Okay.
And this whole documentary, it kind of circles around. At the beginning, they show this bus that's on the side of the road, and there was this guy who left the lower 48, went to Alaska, wanted to live off the grid, and he ended up starving to death out there. Now, a few miles up where his bus was parked, there's some cabins that people use for storage and stuff. And someone went through and ransacked everything, tore up the mattresses. There was a big old coal and wood stove that was picked up and thrown out of the house. And they blame it on him when he was starving to death looking for food. But these people going and making the documentary, they're like, wait a minute. They're blaming this guy for picking up a coal and wood stove and throwing it out of the house. This
Right.
guy alone who's starving to death. And that's why one of the possibilities is, the Sasquatch went and broke in maybe during the winter looking for food.
Right.
And they're the ones who tore it up. I mean, who else could pick up? You've seen those stoves. They're big steel. They're heavy.
Man, they're like 400 or 500 pounds.
Yep. Remember we had one in our living room when we were young?
That's why I know how much they weigh.
Yep, because we were the ones who had to muscle it in and out.
Yep.
Yeah, but I was like, the whole story kind of rotates around that, but they go to other sites. They were flying the drone, and there was still snow on the ground,
Right.
but there was a set of tracks just leading off into the wilderness, a single set. And who else would be out there walking around,
Especially in the cold winter like that.
Yep. So, and the kicker was they tried to follow the tracks, but in some places that snow was way steep, and there's no way we could do this. So that's another, chalk another one up toward the Bigfoot.
Right. But the tracks kept going, right?
Yeah, they kept going,
Yeah.
and it was crazy because they would disappear because for some reason the tracks, it was hugging the trees. And then, they disappeared and it'd come out like on the other side of the tree, like he's trying to throw people off on purpose.
Right. And I
who
think,
else would do that?
well, and we talked about that. We came to the conclusion that these creatures, if they're part primate, they use the trees to, like you said, people come up on these tracks and they're like, and all of a sudden it ended. But did you look up in the trees and see if like it could have swung from tree to tree and maybe for like 100 feet and then came down somewhere else?
Right, and that could be another possibility that leads to these tree breaks when
Right.
they're climbing up and down a tree. That's why we see them so high up.
Right, and because they're like 8, 7, 6, 500-pound creatures,
Yeah, yep.
They're going to break
Now,
some branches on the way up.
Now, I saw this video on that show about paranormal caught on tape or whatever on TV,
Right,
and this girl actually filmed what she thought was a Bigfoot in a tree. It was close to her hometown. It was close to the city. It was actually at the end of the tree line. It was sitting in a tree, rocking back and forth. And this wasn't a small one. It was a big one.
right,
So she filmed it. She called the police. And when the police got there, it was gone. But the police looked at the video and they're like, oh, no, that's a bear, or that's this or that's that. But this thing was clearly bigger than a bear. But the thing was, it was an old crappy cell phone, so of course the footage wasn't that good, but you could see just the outline of this thing. It wasn't a bear.
Right.
Yeah, but I do believe they use the trees. Like you said, that's why the tracks disappear.
You know, that theory's been brought to me so many times, and I thought about it, and I'm like, yes, it does make sense, and I believe they do too. I believe because they are primate, that they could use the trees like any other primate. They could walk the ground like a human being, right, because they're caught in the middle. They're a hybrid.
Right, and I believe they use the trees when they have to.
Right.
Because a lot of the time, where we go, there's a lot of pine needles and stuff on the ground, or like in the spring, there's a lot of grass everywhere, so right, they could walk around without leaving a print. And if you're not, really paying attention, you're not going to notice a few blades of grass that have been smashed or whatever, or you'll chalk it up to something else.
Well, if you look at how chimps react, they make it through the forest all in the trees, and they come down like when they're gonna either scavenge or do battle.
Right. And like on that Expedition Bigfoot show, the Maria, she said, she's a primatologist. She said that even gorillas spend a lot of time up in the tree, and gorillas are big. A silverback's like 500 pounds, right?
Right, but he could get up in the tree, right? So if you look at an ape that's partial human that can stand erect on 2 feet, like Homo sapien, then if he has the upper body strength of an ape, man, this guy's like, I'll swing from tree to tree or run on the ground. What do you want?
Right, exactly.
He's the ultimate Olympic athlete.
Yeah, yep. He's almost as tall and as stacked as that Brittany Gaynor chick or whatever.
There you go.
But I don't know if they smoke weed.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Anyway, that's what. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll send you the link for that one I just told you about, so you could watch that one too.
I do.
It starts off kind of slow. They even go to this cafe where supposedly they had a track that had been casted.
Right.
But the owners of the cafe didn't want them to film inside for some reason or another.
I understand.
Yeah, but I'll send it to you when I dig it up.
Yeah, do that. All right. Well, I think that's all we have time for tonight, and we hope you guys enjoyed what we brought to you. Once again, before you leave, hit that subscribe button. And
right, and check out our Facebook page.
That's right. Join us on Facebook. We don't do Twitter because, I guess
we might get banned.
Yeah, and not get banned. I just guess we're too old, but I don't know. We'll look into it. Anyway, convince me to use Twitter.
We don't get it.
I don't get it. Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
We might get on TikTok because we want some of that TikTok money.
That's right. So join us there. Anyway, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed what we brought to you, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for watching.
We hope all you YouTubers enjoyed the show.
That's right. And don't forget to reach out to us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
Peace.
Peace.